All right, we're going to move on to our next section, and we're going to talk about the slope of a line. Well, continuing talking about slope of a line using 2 points. In this case, again, remember that we are going to be using coordinates. And coordinates are tell us a point's exact position, and they always look like x, comma y, or I could say 3, comma 4, and then I could draw that on my line, right? Now, last time we were finding slope like this. You would make a plotting point like this. Say you would 1, 2, 1, 2. Actually, I'm going to need 3. And say I had 2 points here, 0, comma 0, and 1. We're going to go 2, comma 2, which would be here. And the way that I could find my slope, if I had my line like this, would be that I can draw that little triangle out, like this. And I could find out my rise over run, which is how I find my slope, which in this case, my rise would be, if I went from 0, 1, 2, would be 2 over, and my run, I went 2 over this way, would be 2 over 2 or 1. I could simplify that into this. This case, though, we're going to use a simpler way so that we don't have to draw out the triangle every time that we do it. So instead, if I were to draw out a coordinate, give me a second to draw this out. We are going to do this. And I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm just going to go 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. And in this case, I'm going to have my line. I'm going to have a point G at 6, comma 3. And I'm going to have point, I'm going to call this G. And I'm going to have point F at 3, comma 7. 1, 2, 3, comma 7. I'm going to have my line go through them. Let's write what this is. Now I should definitely be able to tell based on the slope of this that it's definitely going to be negative, so I want to make sure that my slope is negative as I go. But this case, instead of doing my triangle, I have another formula that I'm going to be able to use to figure out what it is that I'm going to do. So instead, I can write that the change in y over the change in x. Boys and girls, excuse me, I am trying to make a video right now, so please whispers is my expectation. Thank you. Instead of writing it like that, I can write it like this instead. I can say y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 will also give me the slope. And this is a mathematical way to write out this triangle that I'm forming. The key to using this, though, is that I need to make sure that my y2 and x2 are the second point in this line. Otherwise, it won't work. Okay? So let me show you how I can do that in this case to work it out. We're going to have our f be 0.1 and our g be 0.2. All right. So my y2 and x2 are going to be this, my x and my y. I'm going to have 3 minus, and then my x2 down here is going to be my 6. My y1 here is going to be 7, and my x1 here is going to be 3. Now the key is to remember to use our negative and positive rules for adding these and subtracting these. Because if I have 3 minus 7, that is definitely going to be negative 4. 6 minus 3 is 3. This is going to give me a slope of negative 4/3. And this is the way that I want you to find the slope in this section. It's much easier when we're using much larger points. If my 2 points in this case were like 1,000 and 2,000, I would not want to draw a giant triangle to measure my rise over run. Instead, I want a mathematical way that will allow me to do it much faster. Now, for the homework in this, you are going to be finding slopes again, but I want you to use this formula here. This is going to be our key to figure this out. As you do it, remember that you're going to move this way along your line. So whatever is to the left is going to be point number 1, and whatever is to the right is going to be point number 2. And you can figure out where those are anywhere you'd like on that line of building it. In the homework, you're also going to be asked to draw a line that passes through a particular line and has a slope. You can try doing that on your own, but I'll also show you how to do that right now if you'd like. Okay, I'm going to build another quick coordinate grid. In this case, and let's see, we'll go like this. And we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'll just do negative 3, negative 6, 3, 6, 3, 6, negative 3, negative 6. So it might say, draw a line that goes, through point two, comma negative 1 with a slope of 2. Okay, so in this case, I have to draw the line from the information that they gave me here, which makes it much trickier. The one thing that I do know is I can start by plotting this point, 1, 2, comma negative 1. So I definitely have this point, 2, comma negative 1 on my list. But the question is, if I'm going to make my line, where does it go through and how does it build? Well, what I can do is I can look at my slope and know my rise over run. I can rewrite 2 as 2 over 1, right? Because those are the same number. And this is going to give me my rise over my run. So that I know I can run 1 space to the right, which will give me 2 spaces up. Let me show you what that means. If I go 1 space to the right, I'm going to go 2 spaces up, which would give me, 1, 2. Which would give me my second point here. And I can go again, 1 space to the right, and 2 spaces up, which is going to give me a pretty steep line that I can then draw. Now, I don't need to draw a bunch of them out, but this is enough for me to kind of see the line that I'm building. And I can use that slope based on what I'm going to do. If my slope is negative, of course my line's going to be going down. If it's positive, then my line's going to be going up. 0 is flat, and undefined, of course, is up and down. I hope that makes sense, and good luck.